Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ha, Rocha, Chodash, Ma'amath. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders, as well as honors to the bishops. I also want to give a double honors to my elder apostle, Herawan Ban Yasharallah of the Lions Den Camp here at Jacksonville, Florida, as well as honors to my bishop, Kanak Sa'an Ban Yasharallah, also of the Lions Den Camp here in Jacksonville, Florida, as well. Shalom to the sincere Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity around the four corners of this earth. I'm Nakar Harab Ban Yasharallah, coming out of the Lions Den Camp of Yasharallah here in Jacksonville, Florida. And today I'll be coming out a lesson and is on this article. And the title of this article is Stripping the Whore That Sits Upon Many Waters. So that's what these nations are doing. And this article speaks about these nations, starting to move in that direction. So without further ado, it says Hormuz 2.0, China's coming choke point strategy in the Taiwan Strait. They're following they're following Iran. Babylon is hemorrhaging money big time, and with this scrimmage that's going on over there in the strait, over there in the east, guess what? It's bleeding America dry slowly. But let's continue. It says the United States and Israel did not lose to Iran on the battlefield. American and Israeli strikes damaged key facilities and removed senior operatives. Yet the April 2026 ceasefire and the subsequent memorandum of understanding left Tehran's regime, its nuclear program, and its missile arsenal intact, while unlocking nearly $344 billion in reconstruction funds and access to frozen assets and sanctions relief. Iran turned the Strait of Hormuz into a weapon and converted endurance into leverage. The mullahs, however you say mullahs, however you say that, and the Islamic Guard Corps showed that a weaker power can prevail by exhausting a stronger adversary's political will rather than destroying its forces, meaning bleeding them dry. Causing them to keep spending money. You can't win a war spending all of your money. It doesn't work. At some point, one side is going to run out of money, and that's what Iran has done. That's why Iran is that was a very strategic move. If you're going to talk about war, that was very strategic. Make your opponent fight a war of attrition. Eventually, that opponent at some point starts to slow down and give out. But let's continue. And that's what Iran has done. And we're in the time of war, so that tactic was honestly, it was a very smart tactic. You can say what you want. We're in war now. Bias and opinions don't matter. But let's continue. It says Beijing watched and learned. Moab. Just like they rode on the coattail of America to get where they're at now. But let's continue. And it says, Beijing watched and learned. Now China does not require an amphibious invasion of Taiwan to achieve its objectives. A quarantine or blockade using mines, DF-21D and DF-26, barrages, cyber attacks, and maritime militia forces would sever supply chains for advanced semiconductors, AI, defense systems, and electronics. Okay, yeah. And Taiwan produces a lot of that, especially those chips for those things, those electronics that were mentioned. It says Taiwan produces over 90% of advanced logic chips and 60% of contract manufacturing. The economic shock could exceed 10 trillion and trigger a 5 to 10% contraction in global GDP. Thus, Beijing could bring Taiwan under its control without firing a single shot. They wouldn't have to put boots on the ground because all they got to do is perform a choke point. If let's say, I'm just using this for an example, somebody get in a fight, and you grab somebody around their head, and you get around where they get that air in at, and that air go out. and you cut that off. They ain't gonna last very long, and that could be this is a possibility that China could do, and it's gonna bleed America. It's gonna stop Babylon, and that's a form of, guess what? The Lord stripping the whore that sits upon many waters, stripping Babylon of all its resources that it once had, that it once took by force, without the need to be taken by force. But let's continue. It says the Chinese military built the tools for this test: anti-access missiles, naval and coast guard forces, cyber units, and economic leverage, allowing Beijing to operate below the threshold of war, paralyze American decision-making, and divide Australia, Japan, the Philippines, and South Korea through tailored pressure. Fracturing America's alliances is not a side effect of Beijing's strategy, but a central objective. The Lord said he was going to destroy Babylon, smite the foundation of it. But let's continue. It says Washington's bureaucracy treats Taiwan as 5 separate portfolios, while Beijing sees one campaign. Hence, 3 corrections are required. The president must appoint a special presidential envoy for Taiwan within the National Security Council, with authority to override standard bureaucratic processes and to report directly to the National Security Advisor and the president. This envoy must force prioritization of Taiwan across the Pentagon, State, Commerce, and Treasury departments, and maintain continuous oversight of arms deliveries, pre-positioned stocks, sanctions planning, industrial mobilization, and allied coordination. When agencies resist, the envoy must cut through the bureaucratic resistance rather than wait for consensus, because Taiwan crisis will not wait. I mean, the truth of the matter is, Moab gonna take that over so quick. It's gonna be like a flood. They're just gonna be took over. Like, shit, I don't know, should that happen, should that be the Lord's will, Taiwan will be taken over so quickly by China, and it is what it is. Despite American protection, it will be taken over. It would be literally overwhelmed. Even though Taiwan do got a very proficient army, they will still get proverbially steamrolled or taken over, which would cut off Babylon from a lot of things that get made, which will severely handicap this place. But let's continue. It says, second, Washington must arm Taiwan to survive the opening phase of any Chinese blockade until American and Allied resolve can harden. Mobile anti-ship missiles, layered air defense, unmanned systems, resilient communications, and pre-positioned stocks of fuel and ammunition, along with coastal defenses, must be ready on the island when Beijing moves. Taiwan reserves and civil defense cannot wait until the crisis begins. Weapons delivered after the fighting starts will not deter China. They will only record the price of earlier American hesitation. So, let's continue. And it says, the U.S. must lock in allied commitments before any crisis erupts. Japan, the Philippines, Australia, South Korea, and India must pre-commit to defined roles in access, intelligence, logistics, and economic countermeasures. India is a part of BRICS. I don't see how that's going to work, but whatever. But Washington should establish automatic secondary sanctions on entities enabling a Chinese quarantine, Slovakia, accelerate allied semiconductor production, coordinate maritime insurance and shipping, and align strategic energy reserves. A stopgap measure at best, honestly. It says Beijing must understand that any attempt to fracture this coalition will trigger immediate and severe costs, and that hesitation by any ally will carry consequences of his own. I almost said considerable consequences, but whatever. It says the Strait of Hormuz proved that a revisionist power can weaponize a choke point to coerce the world. China's bloody communist, here we go. China's communist regime, is preparing to apply the same model in the Taiwan Strait with far greater force. Washington must deny Beijing this capability before China, like Iran, normalizes checkpoint extortion and proves that the U.S. cannot prevent revisionist powers from dominating critical maritime geography. Wow, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. See, when Babylon was able to do this stuff, it was no problem. But now that these other nations have the strength to do it, all of a sudden, it's got to be a 5-point step effort to stop this. It's not going to stop it. This is the Lord stripping this whore that sits upon many waters. That's what this is. This is a stripping of this place. And Taiwan is a very integral part for Babylon America, and it is what it is. We're speaking about war. But let's continue. I guess it says Jose Alvarez. He's an American Israeli scholar specializing in there you go. But yeah, let's keep going. But that's it. So I mean, with this model, or we'll say with this model being looked at, this is the Lord stripping the whore that sits upon many waters, which is Babylon America, and it is what it is. Ain't no use of censoring and trying to be nice. Bump that. This is thus saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. If you don't like it, oh well, Esau, too bad. You've fought your way to this point. Fight past this. Fight to your stopping point, because it's almost here. But let's get some scriptures. This is Revelation chapter 17, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. And it says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, come hither, Salakia. I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters. And this was, again, John the Revelator. The Lord was showing him a vision of what's going to happen to Babylon America. And again, thus saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. This is scripture. This is the truth. This is what this devil is trying to ban, trying to say, oh, it's fear-mongering, it's hate speech. No, it's truth speech. It is the wisdom of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua speech. It is righteous speech. That's what it is. So John, he was seeing the future downfall of this wicked, sinful kingdom that the Heavenly Father has his eye on. Verse 2. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of our fornication. So all these nations have done business with this place. They've committed fornication. They've gotten in bed, proverbially, with this place. Meaning they've linked into agreements or entered into agreements to do business with. That's what it means by these kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of our fornication. All the philosophies and the beliefs and all this wickedness that's being pushed, these other nations have taken part of that. Let's go to let's go to Jeremiah 51 real quick. Jeremiah 51, verse 7. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. These nations have went crazy following the ways of Babylon America. And it is what it is. Because the Lord has been using Babylon America as a golden pimp cup. And all these nations have been getting drunk off the pimp juice. Off all the wickedness that this place indulges in. These other nations now indulge in it too. And guess what? They're starting to suffer the same things that Babylon America is suffering. They're starting to notice certain things, and peace leaving where it was once peaceful at. Now it's starting to become a problem now. Just take Japan, because I follow like Japanese stuff, and it's his Facebook, and it's always got Japan news, and every time, and for the last few weeks, I've been seeing a lot of Babylonian American stuff happening in Japan. And Japan used to be known as one of the most safest countries on the earth. Like, they wasn't with none of that. The cleaning, they're like, nah. A lot of Babylonian American crap is happening over there now. Well, let's continue. Let's go back to the point. Back at Revelation 17:2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So this has happened. These other nations have become mad. They've joined in. I'm going to jump down to verse 4. And it says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of the abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. So the Lord is likening Babylon, America, unto a whorish woman that has been decked in all manner of jewelry and beautiful clothing. Flip side, Babylon, America, all kind of resources, amenities and things that were taken from other countries by force through deceit, wickedness. And she had what? A golden cup. That's that wine. That wine that she was using to get everybody drunk. The Babylon juice. And everybody was getting drunk off of it. The nations joining in, taking the sip, getting put under the spell. But now it's wearing off. You can't stay buzzed forever. At some point you got to sober up, and that's what's going on. These nations are sobering up. And now they're starting to follow, because the Lord is getting these nations ready to fight each other. So now guess what? Hostilities are starting to erupt. They're starting to recall past instances and things that Babylon, America did to them that were unmerited and were unjustified. But let's continue. Let's go to verse. I'm going to jump to verse 16. And this is going to happen. And it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So at some point, these 10 horns, the European Union, NATO, the EU, at some point, they're going to turn and they're going to start hating Babylon, America. Because of what? Because of the manifold wickedness and the double crossing and the backing out of deals and not keeping words, talking a good game, but meaning complete and utter destruction for said entities and or parties that linked up with this place. So at some point, these other nations are going to turn and burn this place with fire, destroy this place. Why you think they're getting their nuclear arsenal up? Why you think this is happening? That's why this is happening. The Lord is getting everything ready. The drums of war are beating. We'll say the shofar is blowing, and that shofar is a shofar of the downfall of this place. War is coming. Pestilence is coming. Evil, bad times is coming. And if you're not on the side of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you're going to die. It is what it is. Don't hate to break it to you. I really don't hate to break it to you. But it is what it is when it comes down to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. He said what he said, and he meant it. Let's continue. Let's go to Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 47. This is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 1. It says, come sit down in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldees. Thou shalt no more, Salakia, be called tender and delicate. So what? Come sit on the ground. This is the judgment of the Lord. Come sit on the ground, O virgin daughter. Guess what? Now it's time for Babylon to be pillaged. It's time for Babylon to be attacked. It's time for Babylon to feel everything that Babylon has been putting on these other countries. Sit down in the dust. Get low. Get out the way. Take a lesson from Ludacris. Ain't no more throne. Ain't no more power structure. Ain't no more posturing. Ain't no more butt bluffing. Ain't no more being in power. Ain't no more of that. This place is no longer gonna be called the Lady of Kingdoms, or tender and delicate, I should say. This ain't the place to be no more. It ain't. It's over with. It's done. I'm jumping down to verse 7. It says, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. So thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst thou remember the latter end of it." So people, Edom in particular, and people do too. They think this, that especially our people, 2/3 that just don't know nothing. This place is said this place is gonna be a lady forever. So this place, or the people running this place, always thought, or Esau or Isha always thought, that he'll never ever be taken down. His power structure, his corporation that he set up in the earth, it would never ever come to an end. That's why it says, "I said that, and thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever." See, the things that Babylon and America has done around the four corners of the earth, whoever didn't lay it to heart or remember the wickedness that was done, never thought about it like it's gonna come back at some point. If you put it out, you getting it back. You get out, you get back what you receive. You get back what you put in. If you put it out, you getting it back. The Lord says he is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you gonna get it back. If you put wickedness out, that's what you think that's gonna come back to you. You get back what you put in. And Babylon America has put in much wickedness around the four corners of the earth, much bloodshed and tear, with this devil in particular, Isha in particular, bloodshed, just manifold wickedness. So guess what? He gonna get it back, and he gonna get a great harvest. It's an abundant harvest too. It's an abundant harvest. It's juicy, abundant harvest. He gonna get it all back and some. The Lord gonna give him more than he came for. This devil, he gonna get more than he could chew, and he gonna get plenty of it. He gonna get the whole cup. He gonna get every last drop. So let's continue. Verse 8, it says, "Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither will I know the loss of children." So Babylon America is a place that's given unto pleasures. People can do anything they want to do. Pleasure, anything they want to do here in Babylon. So this place is given unto pleasures. This is a place that dwells carelessly, assuming and thinking that nothing can happen. Because people walk around here thinking, "Oh, there ain't nothing there." Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thus saith Yahweh by Shemel Shai. It's gonna happen. You ain't got a choice in the matter. So, but this place was set up, and the powers that be that run it think that this place ain't gonna go down. It won't sit as a widow. Like, it ain't gonna know the loss of children. I mean, it ain't gonna know the loss of people migrating and leaving and never ever inhabiting this place again. See, this place had that prideful, haughty aura about it. Like, oh yeah, we finna be around forever. No, it don't work like that. We in year 250. Most kingdoms go down and after the 250th year. And ain't nothing you can do about it. But let's continue. Verse 9. It says, "But these two shall come unto thee." Let me read it again. It says, "But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection. For the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantment." So destruction and judgment gonna come to this place in its perfection, meaning it's gonna be the perfect amount, and the Lord know exactly what he gonna do with that? It's gonna come in its perfection. Why? For the multitude, the wickedness of the sorceries, all kind of manifold wickedness, and the enchantments and the abundance of enchantments of this place. It's all kind of crap here. It's all kind of idolatry, all kind of spiritual immorality and wickedness going on here in Babylon, America. It's one of the most wicked, sinful places on the planet. But for a long time, what was it hide behind? A God-fearing nation. Now look, the true face is showing, and it's all cracked and nasty and disgusting and putrid. Worms, rotten. They're stripping this place. That's the Lord stripping this place. That's why you gonna have this choke point, and it could happen. It could very much happen. This could very much happen, should the Lord want it to. Which is going to be even more of a burden to Babylon, America. Let's continue. Verse 10, it says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none besides me." So this place is trusted in its wickedness. Really, with thinking that, okay, the wickedness of Babylon, America would never be seen, would never be brought out. And guess what? That has perverted this devil, that has perverted this power, this great whore, not this great whore, but this whore that sits upon many waters. She became perverted in her ways. Her wisdom and knowledge is what perverted her. She didn't start to say in her heart that she is and none beside her. Meaning thinking that she the only one in power. When the Lord took this woman, this whore that sits upon many waters, bump it, and lifted her up and gave her all the stuff she got. She didn't get it on her own. The Lord allowed this. So now it's going to be over. Verse 11. "Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt know." You know what? Yeah, the Lord probably going to allow this to happen. He probably going to let China do that. Because that's stripping this place. But evil is going to come upon this place. The ones that run this place, they ain't going to know what to do. Esau ain't going to know what to do. Even the elites, they think they're going, we're just going to go and hide and come back. No, they ain't going to know what to do either. Because once Babylon goes, that's the end. They ain't no coming back, rising up like the phoenix. It's not happening. That's a pipe dream. And when the Lord flushed the proverbial toilet, guess what? It's going to go right on down the toilet. So when the Lord bring evil upon this place, the powers that be that's running this place, that's in charge, they ain't gonna know where it's coming from. They ain't gonna know who sent it. They ain't gonna understand it. They ain't gonna know where it's coming from. And mischief gonna fall upon this place. And guess what? They just ain't gonna be able to put it off. Anything that start to go left here, they ain't gonna be able to put it off. It's coming. Ain't no stopping. The Lord say he gonna judge this place, and this China following suit on a choke point like Iran did. Yeah, that's very much a thing that can actually happen. It can very much happen. And should the Lord truly want it, it will happen. Whatever judgment that the Lord bring upon this place, it is going to happen. Period. Read Isaiah 55. As a matter of fact, yeah. It's 55 and 11. Whatever the Lord has spoken out of his mouth is not going to return unto him void. It's going to accomplish everything that he pleased, that he wanted to accomplish. And it's going to prosper in the thing where he sent it. So it's going to happen. Regardless of who think what or believe what, it's going to happen. Let's continue. Let's go back a few chapters. Let's go to Isaiah 33. Verse 1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. So woe unto what? Thee that spoiled and was not spoiled. Babylon did a lot of spoiling and wasn't spoiled. Babylon, America. They did a lot of thieving and stealing, and nobody stole and committed theft with Babylon, America. Babylon, America dealt treacherously and still is dealing treacherously now, when other nations and other people didn't deal treacherously with this place. So, when Babylon, America ceased to spoil, these other nations are going to spoil Babylon, America. When Babylon, America ceased to deal treacherously, these other nations are going to deal treacherously with Babylon, America. And it is what it is. You get out what you put in. You reap what you sow. So, not show, it's like I don't know why, but so. Last point. Man, way past the point. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction. Let me read that one more. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So right when this big Satan say, okay, now we done, peace and safety, that's when sudden destruction is going to come upon this place like a woman in travail, like a woman in labor with a child. It's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. And guess what? Babylon, America ain't going to be able to escape. They ain't going to be able to stop it. The powers that be, they ain't going to be able to stop it. It's going to be over. And with that, shalom.